Hi, Albert here. Today's topic is about the lack of impetus, the lack of drive, the fizzling off of the steam in photography amongst many photography enthusiasts who gradually lost their steam, lost their drive in pursuing their craft. One of the reasons behind it is social media, because they have been seeing watching a lot of YouTube videos talking about what's your style of photography. And if an amateur photographer such as myself keep pondering over that point, then there will come a point in time where people like me will lose our enthusiasm in photography because we might not be able to identify what is our style. The purpose of this video today is to talk about the necessity of having one's own style. Must you have your own style? Must you follow what Ansel Adams or Henri Cartier-Bresson have done during those years and establish your own style, for you to show it out on social media? That is the contention here. That's the point. My opinion is we are very different from those photographers during that time. During those days, there were not many photographers, unlike today, where anybody can just spend a lot of money on cameras, lenses, editing software, and anybody can become a photographer virtually after a few weeks of playing around with a camera. During those days, those luminaries were confined to mostly black and white film, and they had the time to slowly discover new techniques, ways to make themselves stand out from the others. Competition was not as keen as it is today. But today, if you look at just social media itself, there are so many so-called photographers armed with the latest hardware and with a lot of in-depth knowledge on editing. So I would say the competition is very, very different. Everyone is in a race to get ahead, buying the absolute latest camera, lenses, accessories, and trying to use editing to make their images look very different from one another. But amidst all that, one question always pops up. What is my style? The question is, do you need to have your own style? I mean, for what purpose? In my opinion, photography should be about fun. And very important, the first point to remember is when we look at images, the first thing that attracts us is where did the image come from? The environment, the culture. Under what circumstances did we see that image? I'll just give you a few examples here. Most of the time, we are most captivated by the image that is published, so-called published somewhere, either in social media or in anybody's blog or in a magazine or a newspaper or any form of publication in any medium. When we see images in that format, in that kind of environment, chances are it is much easier for us to be captivated by those images. I'll give you some example. You look at this image here. It's actually nothing special, in my opinion. It's just a snapshot. Anyone with a smartphone nowadays can easily capture images like this. Millions of people would have images like this at home, stashed somewhere, and it is nothing special, just another nondescript image. But if you see such an image captured by somebody from a totally different culture from where you come from, and that image is published or featured in social media, a nice video, or in a printed medium, wow, that image will leap out at you and you will look at it longer. But if you visit somebody's house, rummage through his belongings, his old stuff, and you find such an image, many people won't even look at it twice. Which reinforces my point is that how you perceive the image depends on where you saw that image. To me, that is very important, because if you look closely at many of such images, they are nothing more than casual snapshots. These are the kind of snapshots that you can get day in and day out using a smartphone or a small little compact point and shoot camera. You don't even need an expensive device to capture such shots. But because such shots are featured somewhere, you tend to look at that with a more appreciative perception. Have you ever realized that? Go to your friend's house, rummage through all the old stuff, and you look at some of those images, you won't even look twice. There's nothing special about it. But if that stuff was displayed in a local magazine or a local cafe or a local, art show or something, wow, you will look at it with a different kind of perception. That's the way I look at it. It's a very helpful thing to look at a lot of photography books and ogle at all the images created by different photographers around the world. It fuels our passion. It drives our interest in photography. But one of the risky parts is a lot of people might be tempted to imitate those style of photography. And this is very dangerous. It's like a person trying very hard to be what he is not, what she is not. By aping another person's photography approach. Well, you can do that. And if you succeed in doing that and you become good in doing that, that's great. But what if you just can't get that kind of image? You just can't, because it requires a certain kind of attitude. Like, for example, street photography. Some people are amazed, enthralled by images taken very close up, such as this one here. And he or she tries to get this kind of image, to capture this sort of image, because he is inspired by the guy who did it. And somehow he just doesn't have that kind of, shall I put it, the guts to go so close to get the image. And after some time, he or she might become a bit disappointed, leading to disillusionment, and even in the long term, frustration at not being able to achieve that kind of result. Well, in my opinion, that is not an advisable thing to do, because the way we capture images is largely determined by our own character, what kind of a person we are. Some people like street photography without many human elements inside because they don't feel comfortable being too close to strangers. And some, they feel comfortable being close to strangers, but they don't feel comfortable going very close and pointing the device at the subject. You see? For myself, it's different. I'm very comfortable going close, interacting with them, and pointing the device close to them. And there are no backlashes or any negative reactions. But there are many people who don't feel comfortable doing that. So their street images do not have close-up views of people. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different type of photography. As I said, the way you shoot actually reflects your own character. So please don't try to imitate others. You don't need to embrace the other people's style. You know, you have your own. One clue as to what is your real style of photography is to look into your smartphone. Most of us take a lot of photos on our smartphones, and I believe that is where the clue is. It will show you what your real style is. Look into your smartphone, scroll through all the hundreds or thousands of photos inside your smartphone, and I believe it will instantly show you what your real style of photography is. It is inescapable. And when you compare it to your normal, regular photos that you take using your camera, if there's a huge difference in style, then ask yourself the question, which is your real style? In my opinion, your real style could be reflected more in your smartphone photos, whereas those images captured by your camera could be very different. Those were the images where you intentionally go out of the way to capture those images in a specific manner, to reflect a specific kind of look that you want, the kind of look that you desire. Maybe you have seen that kind of visual imagery somewhere and you are captivated by it, and each time you use your camera, you go out of the way to use all resources necessary to achieve that kind of look. So the question is that your style? Is that really your style? I don't know. But when you look into your smartphone, do those photos also carry that sort of visual signature of your photography style? That is something you might want to ponder.